All right, good evening, everyone. I will start the I will call to order the Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021 meeting to order of the Board of Selectmen. It is 7:01 PM. All three selectmen are present. This is a hybrid meeting. Oh. Suzanne Witkowski is dialing in. She's on vacation with her family and she just came back into the meeting. Can you hear us, Suzanne? You're muted.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, so just a reminder, some housekeeping issues.
No, it's feedback.
Okay. Not echoing now. If you are in the Zoom audience, or even if you're in the live audience, you will state your name and your address, your local address, before you speak. If you are currently in the room here at the Merrill Sinay community room, you will need to come to our table here and speak into the noise canceling mic so that Dottie, our recording secretary, and those who are zooming in can hear you. And I think that's it. The meeting is being recorded, as was noted when I just started it. Yeah, so we'll move on. Make a motion that we approve the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from July 20th, 2021.
I'll second it.
Okay, I made a motion, Ken seconded. Is there any discussion on these minutes? I didn't see anything, but
I thought they looked good. Yeah.
I think you're good. Good,
Yep.
good. Okay, so all in favor of approving the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from July 20th, 2021, say aye.
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 Moving on to correspondence. We received the police services report and the invitation for Community Day. I also received today the business after hours. It's taking place, the business that is hosting it is Christopher Heights, an assisted living community in Webster, Massachusetts. It's being held at Taylor Brook Brewery on August 17th. So that's the night of our selectmen meeting, but it does start at 5 and it runs until 7:30 if either Ken, you or Suzanne, or myself would like to go. So again, that's August 17th, Taylor Brook Brewery. And that's all the correspondence I have. Ken, did you have anything?
No, I have nothing.
Suzanne, any other correspondence you might have received?
No, I did not.
All right, moving on to agenda item 4, selectmen comments. Is there any selectmen comments at this time?
Can I just say that my internet is not all that great?
Can you possibly shut your screen off so we don't see your face? Sometimes that doesn't use as much bandwidth. Am I correct? I didn't mean it that way.
That's the way it sounded.
Sounded that way to me.
We'll move on. This isn't starting well for me. Come on. All right. Selectmen's comments. Any selectmen comments?
I just had one quick thing. We had our first concert. The second one was this past Sunday. We had the one before that, and I did attend that. The field works out well. I did speak with Renee and made it'd be nice if we could get back under the gazebo, but with who knows what the pandemic's going to bring. But it was pretty warm that night. Band played well, and everybody was up against the fence and just trying to stay in the shade, even though the weather was great. It was great for the concert. The only thing that my suggestion was that night was because of the fact that they were out in the open and the way the shadows come around, that we actually end up setting that stage almost further towards the fence where the river is because of the heat.
And I think they made that adjustment this last time.
Great.
So,
Because that was the only thing, because it was a little rough. The people were fine. It was a great concert. Just,
well, actually, though, I don't even think they didn't even use the stage.
They didn't.
They were in the grass.
Yeah, they were in the grass except for the go-go dancer on the trailer. And she was warm, but it was nice. People were happy to be out there.
Suzanne, do you have any selectmen comments?
I just want to say that my internet is not very good. I'm camping with the girls in Pennsylvania at Gettysburg. So if I'm coming in and out or cutting in and out, I'll try to hang in with you guys.
All right, cool. Okay, so Wheaton Brook Culvert began last week. Work set to run until August 11th. So if you haven't noticed, they did do some great signage to let people know that West Thompson Road is closed from Ravenel Road, you know, to the end into Putnam, and specifically it's closed to through traffic, particularly where they're redoing the culvert. It's set to run, like I said, until August 11th. Let's see, the town sign is up thanks to Economic Development Commission and a little bit of COVID funds, CARES Act funds that helped put that there. We begin training tomorrow so that we can start putting messages up to notify the public of things that are happening in town. Our fire marshal met with our mill developer, John Gumpert. They made some arrangements to improve the situation at the mill as far as protecting it from fires. Let's see, unoccupied portions of the building will be locked out from occupied portions. I'm just gonna kind of give you the lowdown. They'll be coordinating with the fire department to ensure that it has access to the entire building through a common key. An electrician is going to be hired to ensure that there is no power in any of the unoccupied spaces. Beam detectors are going to be installed on the unoccupied floors 2 and up. They identified some issues of signage, extension cords, adequate egress. All of those are going to be addressed in the coming weeks. And they'll keep the occupancy of any tenant space to less than 50 to ensure there are no uses that qualify as an assembly. Additionally, Jamie is supposed to be getting in touch with Community Fire Department to see which, he's going to connect with the fire department and Matt, who is the property manager, to see which portions of the building might work for storage of the ambulances and other equipment until community fire station is resolved. So that was their meeting. That was the nutshell of what they talked about. So that was good. And let's see, last, there is a film premiere coming up. Thompson Historical Society, The 9 Lives of Number 9, the true story of the Ramsdale train. It's August 14th. Showtimes are 1:15 and 2:45 p.m. at the Turtle Lot Memorial High School Auditorium. The tickets are free, but you have to register in advance. You just have to email reservation requests to Ginny Flood, and that's at gfloodstir@gmail.com. So, but call me if you're interested and need to know more about it. Yeah, so that's what's happening. That's my selectmen report at this time. Okay. With that, we'll move on to agenda item 5, citizen comments. The floor is open to citizen comments. Again, I remind you, state your name, your address, and if you're in this room, come up here to talk to the noise canceling, echo canceling mic.
Good evening, it's Renee Waldron, 79 Main Street. Just a couple things. Was at both concerts that Ken, and while I initially thought it would be best to move it back to the gazebo, at this second one that I attended, the noise level from Riverside Drive is substantially less when we're on the field. And it did really make a very nice setting. I agree, if we move towards the river with the stage, that helped with providing shade for the band as well as the patrons who are visiting. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Also, I wanted to remind everyone that this Saturday is the townwide tag sale. We have 49 spots on the map, residences, and then we have 2 group locations. I think there are about 11 in Riverside Park and 14 at the Thompson Commons. Maps are going to be on sale from 7:30 to 9:30. You just drive into the library parking lot and there'll be somebody there. We'll just meet you at your car and it's $2 for the map. And that's it.
Thanks, Renee.
Amy, if I may, John Rice, 39 East Thompson Road. Just want to compliment you on that sign out in front of the town hall. I think it's a great improvement from the sign that we did have. I think it'll be more informative. The other thing is that what you just mentioned about the 9 lives of engine number 9, the Historical Society will also be opening up the 3 museums on the 2nd floor, which is the Ramsdale Train Collection, the Kenny Post Office from Mechanicsville, and the Turlock Museum. Everybody, when you see the first movie, when you come out of the auditorium, we'll have bus transportation to go around to the front of the buildings if you want to go up to the 2nd floor to see the other museums. There'll be an elevator available for handicapped people if they so wish, or else they can walk the stairs. That's all I have, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other citizen comments? Okay. Oh, Matthew Growers. I'm just going to wait. Matt Grauer was joining in. Oh, connecting to audio, taking a while. All right, so moving on. Appointment, Stephen Houghton, Transfer Station Advisory Committee. Make a motion that we appoint Stephen Houghton to the Transfer Station Advisory Committee, a term to expire November 16th, 2021. I think that's inaccurate. I have to check with Kelly on that. Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Steve Houghton to the Transfer Station Advisory Committee. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of appointing Stephen Houghton to Transfer Station Advisory Committee, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
So that's unanimous. All right, moving on to agenda item 7, new position, events intern, discussion and possible action. I am going to lean to Kira and or Renee to discuss this position of events coordinator. The whole advisory, expires on the same date. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. So the whole advisory committee expires in November, so they'll need to be reappointed at that time. Thank you, Renee. So the EDC is looking to start a new intern position as events coordinator. As the letter stated that was given to us. They've interviewed a candidate, but the candidate has since pulled out, if I understand correctly, but they are still looking for approval of this board to start this position. So, Suzanne or Ken, do you have questions?
I had a question. The process is that we would approve the adding of this position to the budget, is that correct?
It's EDC funds, so they're just utilizing EDC funds, which they have the right to utilize in any manner, but because it's an actual paid position, I thought it was important to come before the Board of Selectmen.
Amy, this
Ken,
is Tara. I think that's the
I think
process
that we have to
went
actually
through.
approve. Excuse me. I thought the process was that the Board of Selectmen has to actually approve the position because it would be a new line item in the budget. But Ken, you could answer that for us, I think.
This is part of EDC, so the question is this a permanent position or is this a one-shot deal because they've got funds?
Did everybody hear Ken's question?
Yeah,
Tira?
this is Tira. So essentially, we're trying to go through the same process that we did when we added the social media intern, which was, it was initially EDC budget money, which was voted on by the commission, essentially as a trial run to see if it is effective. And then we subsequently added that intern position as a payroll position. So it lands kind of in an in-between. In other words, the EDC funds already exist, and this is how they've chosen to allocate them for this, call it a project if you want. The intent is, if it serves the function that we believe it will, then the position we would hope would become permanent, like the social media intern.
So
With any-
my question is not so much the funding, it's about the process. Does the Board of Selectmen have to approve the addition of the position to the budget?
I would say that's the point of this, of us having it on. They're pulling it from the current funds, but it is adding a position. So yes, I am looking at this point for the Board of Selectmen to
Right?
vote yay or nay on adding this
So
position.
does the Board of Finance have to approve the addition of? Exactly, not about the funding, not about the need for it, it's about the process that I'm questioning.
If I may, I'd have to guess no on that. I mean, we're talking about a $2,000 funds coming out of it's a payable fund. They're not allocated right now into payroll. I believe Orla was clear that the Board of Selectmen, not the departments, so that's why I think it's before you guys, but the Board of Selectmen have the authority to move that within that budget to that. So taking it out, 2,000 out of the payable line. that we-
Four, Renee, four.
I'm sorry. And moving that to be able to pay payroll. That's my understanding from Orla.
It's the exact.
No,
same
Renee, that's not the question. The question is, doesn't the Board of Selectmen have to approve a new line item for a new hire? The transfer of funds, that's an Orla thing, I believe, but I believe that the Board of Selectmen, and I'm asking, does the Board of Finance also have to approve it because it's a new line item, a new hire, a new position to the budget?
I do not believe the Board of Finance has to, but I could be wrong. I mean, I was left with
Yeah.
the thought that would come before them at a later date, that it becomes part of the end of the year transfers. But
We could
I-
technically.
Can we
approve
check with
that.
Aaron on that?
Suzanne, we could approve it and pass it along to the Board of
What?
Finance.
I'll go somewhere else.
What are your thoughts?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said we could approve it. Typically, when we approve things and we forward it to the Board of Finance, that could be what happens.
That might be that's how I would think it would work. And then they would have to approve the position, but can we maybe check with Aaron? Can we approve, if we agree, maybe we could approve it tonight and then check with Aaron to see if
We
that
could
has to
approve
go
it
any
and
further?
We could approve it and still send it to Board of Finance pending Board of Finance approval.
Just get a clarification.
And we could get a clarification too in the meantime,
We can
but
prove it.
Yeah.
And if there's an issue, but I don't believe when we did the intern for the computer and stuff that it was just something that came out of branding with EDC, and it was recommended and they had the funds and they funded it. So that position could be eliminated anytime based on EDC funding. I mean, the Board of Finance could turn around and based on the budget, cut X number of dollars, and then the EDC is going to allocate appropriately how they need to spend it. Okay, and there is
that's the
no,
way I saw it.
and there is no, there's no benefits or anything other than
Right.
they're covered by workman's compensation.
Am I correct, Tira or Renee?
Not
You
correct.
said that you've allocated $2,000 for this position for the
No,
entire year?
it's four.
Oh.
It is four.
$4,000? Okay.
Okay, so Amy, how do you want to move forward?
I would make a motion that we approve EDC's request to add an events intern pending approval from the Board of Finance.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this agenda item? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, that motion passes. On to agenda item 8. Now, at our last meeting, we did get approval to make position offers to both our conservation agent and a new recording secretary. Both have accepted, so that's really what it's on here for, to let you know that Dan Malo accepted the offer. I believe he starts next week, Tara?
The 16th, so a
16th,
week, a
okay.
week from Monday.
A week from Monday. And Heather Gauthier Bourgeois as recording secretary will begin the middle of August. I don't think there's anything else. We did vote to make the offer, so I'm just letting you know that they did accept their positions.
Make a motion to hire Dan Malo and Heather Gauthier Bourgeois. Dan, for conservation officer and for recording secretary.
And I'll second that motion. All in favor of these new hires, say aye.
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 I can see it was coming.
Looks like she was frozen.
She was frozen for a second. All right, so there are two
Sorry.
agenda items. We were gonna close with ARPA funds, but two agenda items came in after the agenda was posted. I'm just gonna keep them there. We're gonna move on to agenda item 9, which is the discussion of the use of ARPA funds. I do have a slide presentation. The Board of Finance was invited. We have Robert Wurge is here with us, and there is Steve Herbert is in the audience. I don't believe there's any other Board of Finance members here. So thank you both for coming. I do have a slide presentation to share. I just got to get it up on the screen.
And that would start with page 5, Amy, for this meeting.
Okay, great, thanks. I don't know that I have it set very well for a slide presentation here, but can everybody see that? In the, no, I know you guys can't. I'll read it to you. Am I on 5 yet?
I can.
You can see it? Okay, great.
Too bad we couldn't get it to the TV.
I know. I think there is a way.
There you go. There's your first substantive slide.
All right, so I don't want to spend too much time going over all the details. This slide presentation Tira put together because there is going to be a public engagement, and that's going to take place on November 18th. Prior to that,
August 18th.
Sorry, August 18th. Did I say November? Oh my gosh, I want the year over already. August 18th. Prior to that, the Board of Selectmen will meet again on August 17th, and that's where we'll drill down on our thoughts and some of the options that are out there. So just to give a quick review for everybody, the category 1, COVID mitigation and prevention, public health proposed project was the renovation of the community fire station. Second was assistance to households. We do have Ann Miller on the line. If we wanted to go in this direction, Teague would probably be able to help us along with that. Category 3 was aid to impacted industries, tourism and recreation. This would include improvements to the Airline State Park Trail, as well as the possible train wreck site. Category 4, building stronger communities through investments in housing and neighborhoods. Proposed project might be the 65 Main Street Small Business Incubator and Public Gardens. Eligibility category 5, promoting healthy childhood environments. That would be the addition of some new recreation after school programs that are being discussed. Eligibility category number 6 is water and sewer infrastructure. This could include protection of our water source in town. AKA the salt storage facility. Eligibility category number 7, again, water and sewer infrastructure, and that would be the Water Pollution Control Authority. The plant is from the 70s, has only seen reactive repairs. And we have an estimate at this point of about $750,000 to upgrade pretty much every piece of equipment in the facility. So, but we'll get into those details. Yeah. So I'm going to jump back to my Zoom so I can see everybody. So I can, there we go. So at this time, I'd like to just kind of open the floor to whoever might want to share. Let me stop my screen share. Sorry. All right, there we go. So at this time, the floor is open. People in the audience here and people in the audience on Zoom are open to speak. Just raise your hand and Justin Young. Okay, Justin Young, you got to come here. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'll do?
Just so that way they can pick it up on the microphone.
You want to be able to be seen while you're
No,
talking? No?
we don't want to break a camera today. Justin Young, 12 Fairway Drive
Can everybody hear him?
in North Grosvenor.
This is acting weird. Could everybody hear him?
Clear on Zoom, or at least on headphones on Zoom.
You can hear him on Zoom?
Yep.
This is Steve and I can hear him.
They can hear me on Zoom. Even if
Yeah,
they
I
can't.
can hear him.
Okay, great. Dottie put her thumb up.
So as part of the ARPA, I think it would be extremely wise of Thompson to consider a dynamic shift in its EMS provided provisions to the town. One of those things being bringing the ambulance service, specifically Thompson EMS services, under town guidance and jurisdiction. By doing so, also providing a new facility for the ambulance, but also to potentially support a future Connecticut State Police safe haven and or resident trooper barracks position office. Also an office for Thompson Emergency Management, the fire marshal. The building can also be a warming and or cooling station if needed. It can have a meeting and training facility within it. Mainly, it helps us be able to provide a service in town that is up to date and desperately needed. The EMS in the surrounding areas is in a, as well as I believe here, is at a critical point. And we need to take under consideration as a town where it is going to move in the future. I believe the volunteer ambulance had its place at one point in society and within a town such as Thompson. But at this point, I think we're getting to a population level and a necessity where it needs to be addressed. And the ARPA gives us the ability to do that. I have some drawings that I can share with those of you in the room. I apologize, I can't share them with those of you on Zoom, but I will forward them to Amy so that she can make them part of the minutes. Preliminary estimates for the proposed facility have it well under $500,000. And that is placing it at the Thompson DPW facility where they're currently storing the millings. Whether that goes through planning and zoning and gets past all of that, that of course has to be decided. But I believe that this facility will allow Thompson to move into the future of EMS, have a fully staffed 24/7 EMS staff and facility, bring it into Department of Labor compliance, et cetera, et cetera. I also think it gives us a place to have our full core emergency services in one location and not spread throughout different pieces of the town in terms of emergency management, fire marshal, as well as ambulance service. One of the things that came in late to me today was that it can also provide a place for paramedic. We are in the northeast corner. We're in a good strategic spot, especially that spot being it so close to 395 gives the paramedic a good spot to sit and stay, rest if need be, which again brings those services closer to Thompson. The attractiveness of a new facility, right? Everybody likes new, but the attractiveness of a new facility might just give us the leverage we need to pull Thompson into the future when it comes to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll share those drawings with you later.
I like the way he thinks. Certainly, if we were to do a project like that on the same site as a salt storage facility, we're doing site plans all at the same time, and a lot of the work could probably happen almost simultaneously. So that's potential. So thank you for getting those numbers. I had actually inquired with the town of Pomfret, who had
Can you
done-
say that to me?
Oh, could you hear me?
What did you say? I missed the last sentence. Before Pomfret, you said something about doing the site work, something.
The site plan, the engineering plans, some of the construction work could kind of happen simultaneously potentially, and there'd be cost savings because everything would be taking place on that same site. So it could be one big plan to improve the facility and make it a public safety facility overall is potential.
And Justin was suggesting up at the town garage? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Is there room
Plenty of
up
room,
there?
plenty of room.
Really?
Yes.
I like that thought. Can we add that to the options that you have in the, and this would be a town ambulance service?
Potentially, got to work out those kinks.
Wow.
Yes, my
Justin,
suggestion
that's a great idea.
would be to move it into a town service. It would allow the town to have.
I don't think she can hear you. Hold on.
Well, I'm gonna move again.
I
It would
can.
allow, it would allow the town to have, it would allow the town of Thompson to actually potentially provide some benefits to the EMT full-time staff, which could potentially attract a wider EMT staff to the area and give us our full 24/7 coverage that this town desperately needs. With 395 surrounding areas and Thompson itself. Like I said, there are other ambulance services in the area that I think are feeling the pressure and don't have the opportunity that Thompson has been provided with the ARPA funds.
And Ann Miller has her hand raised, so I want to go to Ann at this time.
Hi, folks. Ann Miller. I reside in Pomfret, Connecticut, 167 Pomfret Street, and I work at 15 Thatcher Road at Teague. Tara shared with me, I had an initial conversation with Amy talking about our attendance mentoring recently, and then Tara shared with me these proposals, which are all good proposals. And I had a few thoughts that I shared with both Amy and Tara regarding the proposals. The community fire and emergency shelter, I just wanted to remind people that Teague is not large enough to be a shelter, but we could complement a shelter. So, you know, as we write that, if you think about our freezer space, our cooler space, our shower, bathroom, and a little bit of sleeping space and a NDDH kitchen, that's something with either site that you talked about, that the site that was spoken about tonight, and then the earlier site, that could fit into both of those, and that's your building. That building belongs to the town. We really just lease it from you. So that was one. And then the second proposal where we talk about assistance, I just wanted to remind people that we cover food assistance, rent, mortgage, utility assistance, counseling, legal aid to prevent eviction or homelessness, cash assistance, and we can connect people to agencies that provide emergency assistance for burials, home repairs, weatherization, or other needs. Now, I think it would be a great idea to set some money aside for all of this. It would be so helpful, and really could launch the town of Thompson into a better place financially. Tara's question in that one was the expertise to provide that. We're here for you. We're right here in your town. And if you had that sum of money, I think that we would probably put some hours into a client care coordinator to assist our client care manager. And then we would have the expertise to help you distribute those funds. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there. And then the piece where we talk about recreation, doing an after-school program, I think that's a great idea. We have worried long and hard about middle school students. It's right on. And we can be helpful in a number of ways with that. What I said to both Tira and Amy was, we deal with a lot of families who have students who are dealing with some really deep anxiety issues and so forth. And I would love to just, if that project moves forward, I'd love to think about how Teague could add some expertise and support to that program and maybe provide it as a 5-day-a-week program so that parents who are working could have those particular children assisted in that area. So those were my thoughts.
Thank you. Anne, be great. I'm glad we got to meet together the other day and discuss this because you're a great resource in town, and to partner with Teague to accomplish some of these objectives would be really great.
Yeah,
Yep.
Thank you, Amy. I certainly feel like, I feel like we're here as a resource and we can increase the resource with some of these funds. I think there's a lot of good places to put these funds, but we can increase the resources with some of these funds by just adding in what we can do to help. So I guess I'm just asking to remain present during the process and see where we fit in.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And you've seen the proposal that Tira had put together. It was I think a couple $100,000, if I remember correctly. Is there additional funds that you see, or would that be coming out of that one amount?
I don't have any other funds at this point, and
No,
we're
I mean,
stretched.
to use from the American Recovery Plan.
Mhm.
Did you have any idea what it would cost to enhance what we proposed to date? With your
So you're asking what maybe for a part-time person to assist in that. So I guess, Ken, that's interesting. If we could get another town or two to establish some funds like that and maybe share a part-time position, I think that would save us all money. I am reticent to throw a number out to you without knowing the hours, but if we were thinking, you might be able to do it, I don't know, maybe 10,000. You have to think about what's going to look attractive to someone as a part-time position. If we could do 20 hours and share that person with a couple of towns, that might be the best way to do it. I don't think you'd have to enhance much that way. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. It's just that we'd also have to put a number on it for how many years out we want to go with this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess I would say I'm happy to work on those numbers if you think that's worth the effort, and maybe put together, maybe from the town of Thompson, it would be a 10-hour-a-week position. And then maybe I could combine it with Pomfret. I'm talking to Pomfret and Woodstock too. And maybe if everybody set a little bit of money aside, and then our client care manager could help that person with knowing where to call and what to do. I think maybe we could do a couple of towns for 20 hours.
If I could just add a little context to some of the numbers that are in the full 60-page report that I have, and that will also be in the synopsis that gets used at the public engagement event. Because the two programs that would be most relevant to Ann's commentary, the direct assistance to households and the recreation, the various recreation department tie-ins, middle school aftercare, fell under the broad categories that were recommended by the regional recovery steering committee in their letter. They're recommending that towns put 30%, each town put 30% of its allocation aside. Those two rough numbers in that proposal, the 200,000 for the after-school programs and the 625, I think, for the suggested set aside for direct assistance to households, came to our 30%. That's where those came. But because those programs have not been designed, if the end decision is to pursue one or both or some version of those proposed projects, it's wide open as to how much. The other thing is that it does need to be kept in mind that all the ARPA funds need to be expended by December 31st, 2024. So it is a temporary funding mechanism. So that's just something to keep in mind.
So with that, Tara, that means we cannot, we can't go 6 years out. It has to be
Correct.
at the end of.
Unless you're going to fund it in some other way. But for strict use of the ARPA funds, you're limited to discrete projects that come to a conclusion no later than the 31st of December, 2024.
Yeah, and that works well to get it going. And then it comes a budgetary issue, whether to continue with the program with the town budget and, the taxpayers willing to continue to fund it.
Correct.
So Ken,
So
to
can I
address that, I would say that, when we hire people for positions such as this, we remind them that this is grant funded or temporarily funded. And, maybe we hire someone for 2 or 3 years just to help out in a part-time position. I don't like to create full-time positions that way, but part-time positions seem to work that way occasionally.
No, I agree with you, Ann. I'm just thinking some long-term because of the pandemic, the different variants that are out there, the isolation of, the kids and everything, that it may need to continue well beyond 2024.
Correct.
There'll probably always be a need, just even with the mentoring, because with both parents working, the after school, trying to keep them occupied and being, creative and constructive in their lives, that's easy for them to go awry when the guidance isn't there.
If I could just say one more thing, I guess thinking future-wise with that program, if we could establish it and maybe work on some of the, a lot of the kids that I see fitting into this program, and Tara and I have not had a lot of time to talk about the program in detail, but these might be kids that might not be very successful in school at the present moment. So with a little bit of mentoring added in there, this is a program that could really help to launch them and maybe launch them into high school in a successful way. So maybe, again, Tara and I have not had time to hammer this out, but if perhaps the program became successful, we could look to state funding, or we could look to school funding to extend it. The town of Thompson is an alliance district at this point. That may fit in with a little bit of alliance money as well.
Okay, so I want to move to Suzanne Witkowski because she had something to say, and then we'll.
I
go
had
to
a couple of questions.
Yeah, I was sending it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The mentoring program, is it non-existent right now?
Do you mean mentoring through Teague?
Yes, because
Yeah.
it used to be a flourishing program at Teague. I'm wondering, and it was
So-
primarily funded by the state at that point through DCF.
That was the Department of Children and Families, which has restructured over the past 4 years. They are, during COVID, we wanted to keep mentoring. We actually reached out to many of our mentees, but we were not allowed to see them in person. DCF has not funded any mentoring for us recently, any mentoring that we're doing. We are raising funds for. So we go to foundations and funders and we get our mentoring money that way. And that's how we hire mentors.
Oh, all right, because when I worked there, it was quite a program and it was pretty much fully funded. So you're
It
saying
was-
because of the pandemic, it was,
No,
has diminished,
Suzanne,
or
I
the-
would say that even before that, as the Department of Children and Families restructured, those cases, those contracts started to dwindle. And we have funded it through different foundations because we feel it's really important. And as a youth service bureau, we've tried to keep it going, but we're doing all the funding for it now.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been
My
for a while.
other question is, do you have any numbers, or could you maybe just put together some numbers of how your agency has the need has increased, and if you have seen more of an increase in individuals using all of your services, the food bank, case management, the elderly case management, and that kind of thing?
I can
think that
tell
would
you
help
right
us.
now that it spiked for a while during the pandemic. And then as the higher level government money came in, we saw a decline. And now we're
Okay.
seeing cases that are coming in that have a much deeper need. So when they approach us, their need is deep. A lot of people turn to the USDA food boxes, but they weren't using any of the other services that were provided to them. So they've fallen behind on rent and so forth. So the need that we're seeing that's coming through now is a deeper need. We're looking for getting rehoused with posits and so forth. And we are keeping up, but I fear that the future will be that some of these needs will be a heavy lift, probably. So this,
Okay.
And I got a quick question for you.
yes.
How much of an increase have you seen in rent and mortgage assistance through Teague?
Those requests we are seeing increases in. We had the Unite CT bus up there today. I don't know. I asked them to let me know. I was busy when they left, so I don't know how many people they had. But I still think people are not seeking that kind of assistance. So I've seen an increase in the need to keep people housed. We really work hard to keep people housed because once they become homeless, that becomes a whole different game. We've also created a network in Northeastern Connecticut through our charrette where we've been able to work to keep people housed or quickly with Access Agency to get them rehomed. So we've done pretty well there. So again, I've seen a spike, I've seen a drop, and we're starting to see the numbers climb again. And I think that I think that what's happening is as some of the government, the higher level government money is starting to fade, we're going to see an increase again. We haven't seen a huge drop, not by any means. And we've also reached out so that we have 3 food markets now. We are providing food in the town of Pomfret, and we have a mobile food unit that goes out to Woodstock 2 days a week. So some of the food that we were serving at our food market in Thompson has moved out to those outer towns, and I think that's appropriate.
Any other questions for Ann Miller? Okay, Kathleen Herbert, your hand was raised.
Thank you. I want to thank Anne for her cooperation and with the school. We work together very well, and she works together very well with the superintendent. She mentioned that Teague be an overflow, doesn't have the capacity to be a shelter per se, but they could be an overflow with their freezers and with their kitchen facilities. I'm suggesting that with some investment, you're overlooking the largest building in town with the most facility, with the most room and the greatest facility, or the asset to be an emergency shelter is the school. It has the gymnasium, it has the room, it has showers, sits way up on a hill, it's flood proof. It could be an emergency shelter. So I'm just throwing that out there, in case of what, it's an opportunity to look at for warming and or cooling shelter. That's all. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Justin Young wanted to.
Justin Young, a couple more things. I know there was a discussion at the Board of Finance meeting, I think it was 2 months ago, where Aaron had requested that any long-term funding, that also be put in front of the Board of Finance as well. So if it is positions that we're creating, or if it's a building that we're thinking of doing, I still even believe that the bonding, because of the bonding and any of the sureties and anything like that, that'll have to go in front of the Board of Finance, because that has to go against the town capital. I think this ARPA funding is a windfall of cash that we should not get short-sighted on, and that we should take a hard look at the capital improvements list, as well as any past budget items that have been passed up because we just haven't had the funding to do it. So if there's a building that needed air conditioning, or if there's a building that needed a specific improvement that we can justify against the ARPA, I think we really should be looking at that. Like Kathleen said, the school can be one of those shelters, so there might be some justification behind that, and looking at that past capital improvements list to make sure that we're spending the money wisely, and that we're not, kind of overlooking anything on our capital improvements list.
Thank you, Justin. Any other thoughts at this time? Okay, Robert Wurge, just state your name. Oh, you're gonna see. State your name.
Robert Wurge, 452 Lowell Davis Road. I wanted to say a few things, Amy, and I'll be quick. I'm not here to advocate for any specific project per se. I think that's a tough job for the Board of Selectmen to actually choose the project. This topic came up at the Board of Finance meeting, and I was particularly focused on the process. And it feels like where we are today, we've really kind of opened up a wider net of opportunities, and that's important. And I think by having the public engagement, I think that's also part of the process and an important step. So that part I feel good about, or better about, than when we initially talked at the Board of Finance meeting. Two other items, and we touched on it a little bit through the discussion tonight, that I think is important. One is, rather than maybe a big project, a number of projects could touch a lot more people, and the pandemic's touched everyone. So I think to the degree that we can have an impact on as many of our citizens, there's some that are in more need, I get that for sure, but things that could touch or have the potential to touch more citizens would be important. And then the second, which was also touched on a little bit, is are either positions or buildings or infrastructure, things that could have a lingering financial impact. We need to be really, really careful of. It's not to say we don't do them. We just need to be thoughtful and careful about what that long-term implication will be for the town, and kind of run that into the projections in the outer years, because the money is a one-time kind of opportunity, and the things that we do could have lasting cost impacts to the town. That's all I have.
Thanks,
Thank
Rob.
you. That was great. Thank you, Rob. Any other thoughts anybody wants to share? The floor is open. Kira, I saw you went.
Yeah, I just want to clarify for anybody listening how Amy and I have discussed the process, since Rob brought up process, the process kind of unfolding. So there's this meeting, there's the next Board of Selectmen's meeting. The next night is that public engagement process. Now I'm on vacation this week, but when I come back, Justin Young in particular, since it sounds like you have some figures that can be looked at, I would appreciate it if you would send them to me so that I can further refine the projects and the under the eligibility categories, you know, with the new information. But in that public engagement process, that's going to be a big, huge dialogue, you know, that is intended to identify the community priorities for the finite set of projects, whether it's these 7 or these 7 plus another 1 or 2 or a slightly altered version of these 7. And then my intent is to take all of that information, all of the minutes from these joint meetings, the results from that public engagement, which is going to have a scoring component so it can be made sort of quantifiable, and then create a series of possible recommendations. So probably 3. You know, how does it go just on straight rankings? How does it go to accomplish the most things? And then after that, you know, it's down to the Board of Selectmen to you know, choose from those recommendations or alter them, but to try to get the process as comprehensive as possible, and really, again, trying to quantify as closely as we can how these proposals are speaking to the community. You know, everything that's been suggested or proposed is worthy. And everybody's got a dog in this fight. Some people have multiple dogs in this fight. So how can we satisfy the best, highest need, which I think is what everybody is saying a version of here. But since writing the report's going to end up falling to me, I just wanted to know how, you know, how my head is wrapped around packaging that information, because we have to make some choices by the end of the month.
Thank you, Tara. And let me just give, you know, quick kudos to you. You've put a lot of hours into this for us, and I greatly appreciate all the work that you've done. And it's been good working together on this. Any other thoughts?
The only other thought that I have is a number of projects, and you want to reach as many people as possible that have been impacted by the pandemic. My other thinking, it is a one-time lump sum of money, which is $2.7 million. One thing to keep in the back of our minds, if that money was never there, there would be projects that we would normally go out to either USDA, small city grants, and things of that nature. So when we're looking at the overall list and narrowing it down, you know, we may think about, instead of taking the American Recovery money, that maybe it is something that the town does a 20, 30, 40 years, such as the salt shed, something along that line. And, you know, it's a one-time, it's an investment that we're going to have indefinitely. You go for 20, 30, 40 years, and we may be able to fund and do something else that would be impact a lot of people, you know, during the 2-3 years that we have this funding. So it's a balancing act to see what we can accomplish. And yet, you know, just like buying a 9-ton dump truck, we know we got to buy it. And, you know, one of these items may be one of those type of items that we just put it into the capital improvement budget and go with it and be able to fund something else that may be more impactful and immediately.
Dan, do you have any other thoughts?
No, I just want to, you know, make sure that the line is supposed to be spent, and that every time a suggestion is made, that we keep going back to those guidelines
Yes.
to make sure we're staying within and doing, you know, using this money the way that it was given to us.
Steve Herbert, you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I
Looks like
just
you
have
might say
a
something.
quick question, really not a comment on a particular projects, but just like to get a little understanding of how the ambulance service works. Is it a town provided service funded entirely by the town or at least partially by the town? In other towns, is it the same way, or are there private services that are hired by towns to provide that service? Just if someone could help me just understand that little bit of how that part of our town works.
Well, I mean, as far as I know, and new communities here, so they could correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Pomfret just contracted with KB Ambulance. Putnam has an EMS. Is that private or is that public? That's private as well. Obviously, ambulance service is a necessity. It is a requirement. Currently, we contract out our paramedics through NECOG. So NECOG is another source that some towns use for their ambulance service. Am I missing anything? I have the experts in the room right now.
Town does fund it at $75,000 a year.
Right.
Yeah, you can take Woodstock, Steve, and we've talked about this during our budgets. Woodstock ambulance is housed at the Woodstock Fire Department. And it's a line item in their budget. They give them and I don't know the number, maybe 150, 200,000, whatever it may be, to offset what the billing doesn't cover. So everybody's dealing with it one way or the other to try and do this.
And John Sharp. So everybody can hear you. You want to sit?
Oh, sure. The witness chair, John.
Yeah.
John Sharp, Floral Ave. To give everybody insight, community ambulance has been serving the town for approximately 50, 60 years. It is independently owned. We are, I guess, somewhat contracted by the town to provide the service. The state of Connecticut requires that every town has ambulance service provided for their townspeople. The other towns, such as Putnam, is owned under the emergency management, I believe, or directed under emergency management. We're given 75,000 each year to offset what the billing does not provide us. The ambulance service for the last 8 years since I've been chief works on about a 51% cash flow basis. That's why we need the supplements from the town. The other ambulance services, Woodstock is owned by Woodstock Ambulance is owned by Woodstock Fire Department. KB Ambulance Service, which also provides the paramedic intercept program through Teague, as Amy had stated, is supplying ambulance service for Killingly, Brooklyn. They are just contracted by Pomfret because of staffing issues. To follow up with what Justin had mentioned earlier, in regards to, new facility, possibly bringing on new people, I find that hard to believe. Emergency services has been dwindling over the many years for every town. The EMTs, EMRs are not out there any longer. Bob Holsworth was contracted in 2019 to do an EMS study through NECOG. That study clearly outlines that possibly consolidation is the best answer to try to promote growth within EMS services. But again, the glitz and the glare doesn't necessarily bring on other people. It's a tough service. We've been handling it, I think, very well over the last many, many years. The ambulance, whether it's named Community Ambulance or Thompson Ambulance, I don't think makes a darn bit of a difference. But again, that's my thoughts only. Hopefully, Steve, this has answered some of your questions. And again, if there's any other questions that I can answer, I'll be more than happy to.
Again, I was just trying to get an understanding of sort of how it's done now. I guess I read recently that national ambulance services were expanding and either buying, acquiring, or somehow operating ambulance services in towns that used to do it in the way that we currently do it, if I understand it correctly. That doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. I just sort of was trying to get a little understanding of what might be happening and what the options might be going forward. Thank you very
Sure,
much.
absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
On the hot seat. State your
Merrill
name.
Snide, 4 Johnson Street, here in North Glendale. I was chief for a community fire company and ran the ambulance and taught EMTs and everything else for a good part of 50 years. And right now I happen to be president of the community fire company. And, you know, being together with all of these fire departments and ambulance services and working together with OEMS, and Bob Holdsworth, a good friend of mine, suggesting that consolidation is the best thing to do. And talking with people from Woodstock and talking with the people from Putnam, okay, they have the same problems we have, is to get people. It's people are burnt out. They're just not going in anymore. You know, they're sick and tired of COVID, right? Pager goes off and they say, you know, you responded to such and such address and COVID positive. What does that make you feel? You know what I mean? You don't even want to go out on a damn call. And it's just dwindling. You know, informally we talk, you know, talk with the people from Woodstock and Putnam and, you know, thinking about how we can consolidate. You know, do you want to go into the ambulance business? All right. You know, we don't do enough ambulance calls to pay for it. KB Ambulance, they do a lot of calls. They do all those paramedic calls, you know, and we do, you know, paying calls, probably 500. And we need probably 1,100 to break even. Right? As John says, you know, they bill the insurance company $1,000. How much do we get, John?
50%.
Less than that. You know, a Medicare call, $200. Right? So what's the majority of our calls? Right? Medicare calls. And just don't make enough money. You know, I just sent in the paper today. I got a copy in my car for the state so we can get the rates for next year and how much money we collected in the bills and what our expenses were. Show that, hey, we're losing money. If it wasn't for that $75,000 or whatever it is from the town or the money we receive from donations and everything else, you just don't do it. And that's why I would like to see what you propose, right? But when it's built, town's taking on a big expense. A big expense. Right, a big expense. And if you do start it up, are you gonna buy all new equipment? Are you gonna buy the ambulances that you have right here? What's gonna happen? And I think we're hurting. And like Bobby said, you know, let's do something with not gonna be a burden after the fact. You know, you put up a salt shed, for example, that salt shed is gonna be paid. It's not gonna say, well, next year it's gonna cost us another $110,000, whatever it may be, because it's, you know, you're gonna be hiring people and everything else. We'd love to get benefits to all of the ambulance drivers. You know, we would, but we just can't do it. You know, right now it's costing us probably $21,000 a month for payroll. And last month, I got a report from the billing company, how much we took in. It was 19,000 last week. So $19,000 coming in, $21,000 going out, right? The numbers don't add up. And then you've got to pay for the rest of the stuff, you know, the gas for it, repairs on it, so forth. So I don't think the town should get into ambulance business. You should contract out, because then you know it's gonna cost us $400,000. Then you're not in the case, well, what's gonna cost us $500,000. So you got another $100,000 over with you. That's why I think we should get out of that altogether.
Okay.
Contract out like Concord does. That's my view.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, the floor is open still. We are going to start to wrap things up, I think, a little bit. Is there anybody else that wants to speak, either in the Zoom audience or here in the room? Because we are going to have the public engagement process. So everybody will be able to attend that and share their thoughts. All right. Hearing and seeing nobody else that wants to speak, we're going to move on to agenda item 10, appointment of Donna Poitras, Recreation Commission. I make a motion that we appoint Donna Poitras to Recreation Commission, term to expire April 15th, 2022.
Before we go to that, just adding her to the Conservation Commission.
Oh, it's the Recreation Commission.
All right.
So I made the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this appointment to the Recreation Commission?
No,
All right, all in favor of appointing Donna Poitras to Recreation Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
aye.
and that motion passes. All right, and then the next item is the request to make a job offer and hire Brian Levens as Recreation Director to replace Leslie Munchauer, who left about 3 weeks ago, I guess now. So, so we can get to discussion on this.
I'll second it so we can.
I'll
get
make
to
a
this.
motion that we take the hiring committee's recommendation to hire Brian Levens as the new Recreation Director. And Ken said he would second that. Now there's discussion. Oh, all in favor? No, we're not.
in discussion.
We're in
No
discussion.
discussion.
It has been a really long night. It's been a long day. Oh, my gosh.
The only discussion that I have is.
So,
Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Suzanne.
Suzanne.
no, go ahead, Ken, go ahead.
Well, you've got the clear mic, so your internet's working. Go for it.
I don't know if that was public information that was shared with the recommendation letter. But I don't think that the committee should be recommending the salary. Or the terms. And I just don't think that's appropriate. I think that's, the first selectman's job is to negotiate that with the individual. I would assume the committee is just there to determine a candidate for recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. So I would discourage that in the future.
I think it's a
I'm
matter
sure
of
once we have an
employing-
HR person, I think it's a confidentiality.
Correct. Correct. So we're going to take that off the table. That's not up for discussion tonight.
That would be my comment.
Right. And all we're going to discuss now is just whether or not we should approve the new hire. Approve the recommendation.
That was what the
make
motion
offer.
was for. So, and I would agree with, yeah, that was what the motion was for, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the recommendation from the interview committee to hire Brian Levents as Recreation Director, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
and that motion passes. Is there any other business that the board, that either of you would like to bring before the board tonight? All right, back to citizen comments. We've had a lot of citizen comments, but is there any citizen comments that anybody might have thought of? Right? Seeing none, hearing none. I'll make a motion that we refund the following individuals. Leon Flynn, $97.23. Liberty Glass and Metal Industries Incorporated, $161.93. Michael Riley, $80.37. Carolyn A. and Robert W. Wurge, $51.52. Carol Wojtowicz, I completely butchered that name, $234.66, and Pamela J. Howell, $24.07, for a total of tax refunds in the amount of $649.78. I make that motion. Okay, any discussion on this? All in favor of approving these tax refunds, say aye.
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 And I'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting at 8:17 PM.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment at 8:17 PM, say aye.
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 All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Good night.
The update, I ended up with two of these.
Oh, no. Oh, that was out.
No, I'm talking the agendas because she modified the agenda.
Oh, you didn't get the updated
No,
one?
she ended up sending out the same one.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
did not get
I'll
it.
share these with you. Here,
Can you sign?
Yes, I will look at
I don't know if Ken wants to take a look as well, but that's a scale model.
it. What size?
That's a 100 by 50.
Okay,
By,
so it's roughly the same size we have at Quinnipiac by 5 feet in width. Yeah. Is it ours or 100? Or 100 by 45.
that's the first floor layout.
How many days?
2 bays, 2 deep. And then the community room on the other end, like I was talking about earlier, full height, public bathrooms, storage, offices, bunk rooms, showers. Second floor.
You did recording and stuff?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, distracted you.
No, that's all
I'll
right.
send these out to you so you have them.
All right.